Hello and welcome to the part of the show, especially for us here in the South. My name's Danielle Glavin. On today's show, how to rescue the high street. Can the Queen of Shops, Mary Porters, come up with a cunning plan to revitalise our town centres? We'll be shopping around in Oxford for answers. But now it's the first prolonged strike over public sector cuts in the country, and it's happening here in Southampton. Unions and council staff are locked in a dispute over cuts to staff pay. Alex Forsyth explains.
First it was refuse collectors. Bins weren't emptied for a week, except in a tower block where they became a fire hazard. This week it was parking wardens, and now they've extended their strike for another 7 days. Next week Itcham Bridge toll collectors will join in. Meanwhile, thousands of other council staff are doing just the minimum required by their contracts. It's all over the council's decision to change staff terms and conditions, amounting to a pay cut of up to 5.5% depending on earnings. The lower the wage, the smaller the cut. The council says it has to save £25 million this year, so cutting pay means fewer cuts to jobs and services. The unions disagree. So far they haven't said which council department will be next to strike. But they have said industrial action will continue until they get a better deal for staff.
Well, I'm joined by Councillor Jeremy Moulton, the Deputy Leader, and also by Andy Straker from Unison. So first of all, Andy, 51% in one ballot in favour of strike, 56% in another. It's not overwhelming support for action, is it?
Well, it's a majority, which is what the law requires, and it's certainly a larger majority than most councillors have got, that's for sure. But the point is, it's the anger that our members are feeling. There was a lot of people saying that we need to be going on strike, but with all the pressure that's been coming on our staff from management, some people didn't feel that they should vote for outright strike action. So we haven't called that. But the members that are saying to us, this isn't acceptable, and so we are going round section by section, speaking to them, and those that want to go out on strike, we are taking them out on strike, because that's the only way we believe we can get the council back round the table to start negotiating with us, rather than just telling us that they're going to cut our members' pay.
But is this something of a showcase for you? Because other areas are facing a lot of cutbacks as well, and we haven't seen this kind of action, so why here?
Well, I think it's because the actions of the council, basically. Other councils aren't cutting people's terms and conditions. They aren't cutting their pay. And that is the problem. We haven't had any formal negotiations. As far as all the meetings we've been involved in, we've been told what the proposals are going to be, and it's basically, this is the only show in town and this is what we want to do.
Jeremy, do you agree with that?
Well, Andy knows that's not true, because we've sat together in 4 meetings since November. And after each meeting the council changed its position, so we've had 4 separate proposals, and each occasion the council moves substantially.
But you are looking at changing people's terms and conditions here, and that is quite dangerous ground. You know other councils will be watching to see if you're successful with that. So do you worry about this ground that you're on?
Well, we don't want to be here. We have a £65 million gap in our budget over the next 4 years, and somehow we've got to deal with that. We've got to find a £65 million solution. We've taken the view that we want to protect frontline services as far as we can, and we want to keep as many people in work as we possibly can. That's council staff, and we think by doing this we can keep an extra 400 people in the organisation in these difficult times. But we don't agree, I mean, that's clear, but we don't want these strikes to continue. They've got to stop. So I think, Andy's right, we've got to get round the table, but when we get round the table, which we will do, we've both got to compromise.
But Andy, people will be paid less, but more people will be in work. Is that not the best of a bad situation?
Well, I suppose it could be if you could afford to take the pay cuts. This isn't just about either 2.5% up to 5.5% pay cut. People, our members, some of them are complaining that they're losing up to 20% of their pay because their other terms and conditions are being attacked, and our members can't afford that. And ultimately, the council can't afford to pay our members that, because what's going to happen, and it's happening already, is our members will go to look for jobs in other towns where the councils are paying better wages, and Southampton will not be able to get the staff. We're having that problem in some sections already. If that's what they want to do, then they're going to lose staff ultimately. And Jeremy says that he wants this to end. Well, he can end it. He can end it tomorrow. Withdraw the dismissal notices for our members, get round the table and let's start talking. That will end the dispute.
So Jeremy, is that going to happen?
I think we are prepared to compromise, and when we meet, we will go further. We'll see what we can do to move closer to your position. But you've got to also come our way as well. I mean, to date, in all 4 of those meetings, you've stayed exactly at the starting point that you were in November. And if we stay there, we're still going to have this multi-million-pound black hole in the budget. We don't want to lose these jobs, and we don't want to lose services. So you've either got to come up with some answers, or you've got to come closer to us and work with us on this and compromise to some extent.
So can you compromise?
Well, we've put forward some cuts that could be made. We find it absolutely unbelievable that this council gives £1 million away to old age pensioners I think it's mainly for houses who are bringing in more than £25,000 a year. I know it's only £1 million, and I keep getting told it's only £1 million, but there's a saving that could be made, and the Conservatives won't do that because it's a flagship policy. Well, if they want to cut our members' pay, they need to show our members that they're prepared to move, and they won't. We want to talk about further redundancies, because we believe, although our members will take these cuts, they'll then be likely to be made redundant as the time goes on. That isn't acceptable, and we want to talk about those issues. But as Jeremy talks about compromise. Well, let's see some compromise around those issues. Okay, so Jeremy, finally and briefly, it's the people that are losing out. So how are you going to resolve this quickly? I think we want the strikes to stop. We've got a date planned for the negotiation meetings. We're saying we're prepared to compromise. You need to compromise too, Andy. And in the meantime, what do the strikes serve? If we're going to go into that negotiating meeting and we're going to work together to come for a solution, then what is the point in putting the public through this misery that you're subjecting to them over the next few weeks? We're going to have to leave it there, I'm afraid. I mean, thanks for coming in and talking to us today. I mean, this story is going to run and run, and obviously we'll keep you updated with what's going on.